Welcome everyone to episode 19 of Cocoon. And on this episode, we're so lucky to have Rennee Perri, who's the director of House of Mahalo. So welcome, Rennee. Thanks for being our 19th guest.
Thank you for having me. Welcome to everybody.
Now,
it's lovely
it's on this Saturday morning. So first of all, tell us, what is the House of Mahalo?
That's a really good question. It's several different brands wrapped up into one, and with more expansion coming. So House of Mahalo is my overarching business. And in that business, we run a wellness B&B, as well as having a medicinal protein ball business as well. So it means a few different things.
Great. And the location of your beautiful wellness B&B.
Yeah. So we're based in the hinterlands in Mapleton, and we overlook the Obi range.
Oh, it's just stunning. I've been there. It's just gorgeous. And another question is around what does Mahalo mean? Where did the name come from?
So Mahalo means thanks. So thank you. So House Mahalo means of thanks. It's because my whole concept is to be giving back to my community, not just taking from. So that could mean a whole range of things, depending on the client and what situation they're in, how I'm able to give back to them. So there's not one specific way of giving back, but there's multiple ways.
Yes. As well, that's great. So thank you for that, because I've never even asked you that. So it was nice to get that context. And so for these interviews, normally what I do is we always start at the beginning. So tell me, where did your journey begin in the area of wellness?
Yeah, it started 21 years ago when I gave birth to an anaphylactic son. It really opened my eyes to the way we were eating, and I really wanted to understand what he was going through. That was just the very tip of it all. And then a year later, I gave birth to a second son who was on the spectrum. And I did not want him to have to go to hospitals and doctors and get labelled. So I kept that one very private, because my eldest son, he was in the limelight all the time, being injected by drugs to keep him alive because of people being careless with food preparation. And once I realised what I was dealing with both sons, I wanted to have a drug-free house, not completely reliant on doctors, and that led me down the path of studying. So I started buying books from Amazon back when Amazon was only selling books, and that was when the internet was kind of really fresh and you only could use it from your computer or your desktop. And it's what really it paved the way for me to really start understanding food and diseases combined. So I started learning about autoimmune diseases, about diabetes type 2, anaphylaxis, as well as autism. And between the four areas of study, then I started honing in on food. And that's where I grew the passion for actually wanting to learn properly, and went to Vast Academy to learn a little bit more about nutrition and nutritional healing as well, which drew me down the path of creating a lot of plant-based recipes, which I then have shared amongst my peers and family and friends.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And then what led you to open the House of Mahalo? Okay, the B&B.
Yeah, so that all starts from Sydney, to be brutally honest. We had a 10-year plan to always move up to Queensland. And when our 10th year came up, opportunities arose, and I managed to find this beautiful location online. And it was during COVID, actually. And I had certain criteria. The biggest one was view. I really wanted a place with a view, and I wanted it to be a place that would be community. So not that just we only get to see this beautiful, stunning location, but that we get to bring people to it. So Mahalo sort of started a little bit before that, though, with Mahalo Bliss Balls coming out. And that started because I couldn't keep up with my children's eating habits of loving protein balls. I'm like, this can't be that hard. Let's give this a crack. And so out popped the Mahalo Bliss balls first, and it went crazy. We had 1,100 customers in the first 10 months, and we were shipping to 9 countries around the world. And people say, why would anyone buy a ball from another country? Well, ours are actually crafted to do something, not just an empty calorie. So Mahalo started in the Northern Beaches from my children's eating habits, and then we wanted to expand and then open up the B&B, which has now become more of a venue than just a B&B. So we get our weekend trade, yes, but we're doing a lot of events up at Mahalo now, which is just brilliant, seeing so many people on our site all the time.
Excellent. And now you're a very busy lady. Like, as you said, you've got like a business, but multiple products within that business and brands. Correct. And then you also have a day job as well. So
yes, I do.
But how do you maintain your energy levels to be able to do everything so successfully?
Yeah, that's something that's always on the top of my mind. I'm really more respectful of myself now heading into my 50s than I've ever been, because I want to keep having my high level of energy. And by what I do is I really block out a lot of white noise. I don't enter into dramas of any level. I do a lot of meditation as well. I listen to a lot of high energy music. On top of that, it's the entire cycle of your life, sleeping well and eating well. I've been eating a raw plant diet for a lot of years. I do eat meat. I don't always avoid meat, but I do eat it with family and friends. But if I'm by myself, completely raw and plant-based, which really gives me a lot of energy to keep redoing what I'm doing every single day as well. So it's not one thing, it's a lot of things that I do from beginning of the day to the end of the day. And then I've got rituals as well that I do during the month that also bring back my energy levels again.
Excellent. And now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I have certain periods of the year where I'm intensely busy. And so these can be things like, sometimes because I'm an academic, there's certain parts of the semester that are nuts. Or sometimes I lock myself away because I'm usually working on a book of some kind and I just like focus for a whole week and it's super intense. I work like 12 hours writing and things like that. But I always have some sort of recovery plan for when I come out of that, so that because otherwise it just knocks you around too much. So when you have an intensely busy period, what's your sort of recovery plan to sort of ease out of that and look after yourself?
So I go into hermit mode like yourself, right? Where you lock yourself down and you're just doing what you've got to do for a while. And you can see the end of the tunnel and the light's about to bloom again and you get to do a lot of fun things in your life. I always go and see family and friends first. That's my very first thing. It helps me. It just refills the cup up because you get to hear about other people's lives instead of just talking about what's going on in your world. And sometimes I don't want to talk about what I'm doing. It's too much. So it's great to hear what other people are doing for a change and just be a participant in being a family again too. Cooking and looking after the kids and extended family. I love that. That's my first go-to. When I come out of my work hazes, as I call them. And then what I tend to do is I actually give myself a whole day of treatments. So that could be anything. It could be a breathworks class or it could be any type of Pilates, anything exciting that you can do on an adventure as well. Like I will pick up a bag and go away for a weekend. I quite often do that as well to replenish and refill again.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you just can't. You can't keep going like that. So,
you really have to stage everything, in a pragmatic way. If you don't stage things and plan ahead, you will burn out. You will be tired, and I don't have time to be tired. So when I do get tired, though, I know when to stop. I say, right. And I'm going to, I lock myself away from everybody as well. So I won't give anybody energy until I'm replenished it.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So you seem to have learned about how to do this throughout your career, but what do you wish you knew at the beginning to maintain your own wellness? So when you were first starting out, I know a lot of people I talk to for this podcast, they, as soon as they get into it, they're so enthusiastic, they want to save the world, but they forget their own health and well-being. So what do you wish you knew at the beginning?
Yeah, I definitely experienced that when I started the Mahalo Bliss Balls. I was just so keen to get the product out to so many people because there were so many orders coming through the door, and I saw that I was going to burn out too quickly if I didn't sustain. So what I learned to do was actually manage my clients better as well. So I set expectations up, whereas before I wasn't setting expectations. So I put a lot of boundaries in place with clients on to be able to manage their expectations as well as my own energy, and reaching out and asking more people in the industry is what I should have done. I really didn't do that up front. And had I spent a bit more time researching people around me, I researched people overseas. So I looked at some of my competitors and they were amazing. And I loved what they were doing, a group over in Switzerland. And we actually caught up and spoke many times, but I didn't do that locally. And I should have done it locally because you don't know what you don't know at the time until you get to that point. And doing your research a little bit more thorough probably would have prevented burnouts a little bit sooner when I was creating Mahalo Bliss Balls.
Yeah, great advice. And so we'll move the discussion now over to social media. So social media, it's like we need to do it, of course, to get our business out there, but it's a double-edged sword because the more we need to do that, it can actually be a real time suck, and it can be quite addictive as well, particularly if you're posting something and you keep checking how's it going, that sort of thing. How do you navigate the need to be on social media for what you need to do to be successful in your business, with also maintaining your own wellness? Do you have any tips around that?
Don't get caught up in social media drama is always the number one, right? Ignore it. You have to be completely agnostic. You have no opinion on anything. And as far as everyone is concerned, you're just a happy business person. That's all they need to know. I find that, as you said, it is a double-edged sword. So it depends on what part of my business I'm using social media for. And having an IT background for the last 38 years, I'm not scared of technology. I embrace it really well. And I've been using technology to build up my profile since 2007 on social media. And I did that by posting lots of information about food and mainly anaphylaxis, right? And people didn't realize that I was drip feeding them knowledge. They just thought I was probably showing off a little bit. And I didn't let that faze me. I just wanted to make sure that by the time I was ready to execute on Mahalo, that I had established trust in social media world, which is exactly what happened and why Mahalo took off so easily for me, because I knew in the early 2000s to start using social media as a tool, not as a ranting place to be, right? So I think the hardest, as you said, though, is the content. So for Mahalo Bliss Balls, when we were creating new flavors, we've got 28 flavors, it was easy to put out content, right? And I also did a little bit of a gimmick with Mahalo. I would ask my clients to take a photo with the protein ball anywhere they were around the world. And because my balls have been all over the world, I've got lots of content of where Mahalo is today, right? So I actually use it as a fun piece rather than negative. When I do it gets negative, though, and it does, you run out of ideas or you're just really not liking what you're seeing, then I pull back. I just pull away and wait for the right stuff to come and resurface and go, right, now it's time to post out again. I'm also mindful on how much content I post out, because you can just become white noise, and I don't to ever become white noise on social media as well. So I'd rather do a little bit of less is more, from my experience.
Yeah, no, that's great advice as well. And if you don't mind me asking, what's the most popular flavor of the
we have had so many wars because we have two families of Mahalo. We have Mahalo, which is nut-free range, so that we cover all of our nut-free customers. And then we design the balls for the client too. So I've got celiac, I've got type 2 diabetes customers, and I will change the recipe to suit the client's requirements. And then I've got all my sporting clients who need high performance and slow releasing. So and I will keep all the flavors surrounding those requirements. So the number one ball is our espresso ball, and that's among me. So we've got a lot of tradies who love eating them at work because it means they don't have to stop, right? It's just
how much coffee is in that?
Oh, look, it's actually got triple the amount of protein, and it has a shot of espresso in it as well. So, and then our Java is the most popular ball for females because it has cacao nibs in it. It's got essential oils in it, and it's based around the female requirements. And it's like when women have their monthlies, as an example. So we put magnesium in the protein ball, as well as maca, as well as some of the cacao nibs. And that one is all, I haven't had a complaint from a woman yet.
Oh, they sound amazing. There's so many flavors. So
interested
in that. And
actually, I'll just go back to one of the protein balls one of my sons designed, and so we called it concept stage when we were designing them, and he designed the calming violet. And when he gave me the ingredients in it, I had to design it, and we failed 9 times making it before it went out. The first batch just went off completely because we wanted it to be date free. Unfortunately, date is a great carrier and a preservative, so we actually had to take out the oats out of it and just keep it to dates when we were blending it. But it has ginger in it and lavender, as well as maca. And that is our number one ball for our clients that suffer from anxiety.
Oh, how good. That's amazing. So that sort of leads me to my next question around transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And so in your career, have you got a story you can tell us about how House of Mahalo has transformed one of your customers or clients? Of course, maintain confidentiality, but do you have any sort of transformational stories?
I really do. I've actually had a lot of transformational stories because I've got a lot of nutritional clients and sports people that I look after on a regular basis. But my favorite story is always from my very first nutritional client, India, India is from the Northern Beaches. I'm allowed to use her first name. And she was a young lady in her early 20s. For all intents and purposes, looked extremely healthy when I met her. And she came to me because she had some gut issues and we wanted to resolve them. And I said to her, from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, what's your pain level? And she said to me, I'm a 9. And I think she was more bordering on actually even further. She was trying to be polite at the time. And it took me 9 weeks to get her down to a 1 in the pain scale. And so that was when that for me was a huge transformation. And India's diet didn't necessarily look unhealthy. Where a lot of people get their diet incorrect is actually the time that they're eating certain foods. And one of India's diary notes, I noticed she was actually creating a time bomb in her body. And I pointed this out to her. I said, why are you mixing these ingredients in this way? And she's just, when I thought it was healthy, I said, they are, but not together. You need to separate, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. And just by changing just one small little thing, not the taking out what she was eating, but actually putting it in the right spots at the right time of day for her. And that's how we started our journey together in seeing her transformation. So it's always my favorite story because that's when I realized she helped customers as well, Yeah,
that's fantastic. And so also through my podcast interviews for this series, I talk to people who are in two different camps when it comes to goal setting. So some people are more like, or they could be a bit in between. So on one end, you've got the people who are like, set their goals at the beginning of the year, check in, make sure they're on track. Then you've got the other end of the spectrum where they're more like, no, I like to see how it all unfolds and what the universe brings to me. I don't like to contain myself to goals. I like to just go with the flow with what happens. And I guess you can have a healthy balance of both, but which camp are you in? And if you are a goal setter, what are your key goals for 2024?
So I'm a goal setter. I do 10-year plans and 5-year plans, and then my yearly plan. I start writing out my yearly plan in October, at the end of the year before, to understand what I need to achieve for my next year. And as an example, last year's goals were actually more about developing myself than actually anything going in an output way. This year, however, all of my goal setting is all output, which I love that I'm able to do that. I've never been hold on to and let the universe guide me for the year type of person, because I would flounder in that environment. I need structure. And so I find setting goals is structure.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same. Although sometimes like an opportunity might come that I wasn't expecting, and I'm like, no, and then I will go with that. But I still, I'm very, very focused as well.
It is nice to be flexible and spontaneous if opportunities arise. Don't ever knock an opportunity back. But if you don't give yourself just a couple of bullet points to work off for the year, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't. I just need it.
Totally. Like I normally do. I have like a vision board, which is sort of
nice
for the year, and I have different sections of my life and where I'd like to be by the end of the year in each of those. And it's good. I have it hanging up, and I look at it every day and see how I'm tracking.
Manifestation as well, by the sounds of it.
It goes well. And so, look, this whole series has been really around avoiding burnout for people working in the wellness industry. And so, apart from what the tips and advice you've already given, do you have any further advice for people who are just starting out on how they can actually avoid burnout? Because often when you're starting out, you're trying to build your business. So sometimes you take on too many clients to try and get that to happen. But you really need to clearly focus on not burning out when you start or at all. But what advice do you have to new people in the industry?
You can have too many fingers in too many pies very quickly. And it is an industry where you're dealing in human capital, right? So you're always giving, you're in giving mode. And if you do not conserve your energy, that leads to the burnout, as we already know. So understanding that you don't have to do a million things from the get-go and learning to stage it all out slowly, i.e., if you haven't built your website straight away, don't stress about it. It's not going to impact your new business. Get out there and network instead and meet people face to face. You'll have a bigger impact in your business than you would if you were worrying about a website. So I always say to everyone, start small. Mahalo started with a grocery bag of $50 worth. So I didn't go crazy when I was starting on that journey at all. So I always say start small so you can build up to when you are ready to get bigger and you need to be more on point with what you're doing. So if you don't want to get burnt out too quickly, like you said already about how many clients you're dealing with, I did not give a lot of clients too much time and energy. I gave them exactly what they needed, but no more than that, because I knew that they were needing me more than I needed them. And because of that, I need to make sure that every interaction with them, that I was giving them the same energy. So I would make sure that as soon as that session finished with the client, okay, great, Mr. Customer, lovely talking with you. I look forward to our next session, and keep it to that, and not bleeding yourself out is really the biggest piece to surviving and not getting burnt out, right? When you bleed yourself out to everything, you will get burnt out continuously because you haven't keep replenishing the cup. So for me personally, I always say start small, grow into the role, ask for a lot of help. Don't be shy to ask for help.
Yeah. Again, amazing advice. So this brings us towards the end of our chat. And I wanted to say thank you so much for wearing red because, you know, it's my favorite color. So fantastic. So we're matched. It's good. And do you have any final words before we sign off?
Thank you for having me on the show. It's been lovely to hear actually how you've been surviving in the wellness space as well. I really appreciate learning a little bit more, and it's been a fantastic experience.
Well, thank you, Rennee. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you next month for episode 20 of Kokoon. I nearly called it Kokoon. Kokoon. Thanks so much.
It's early in the morning.